helpful, then we're happy to accept that delay and move forward. Good morning again. Thanks for attending. My name is Abdul, Councillor for Firth Park and Chair of this licensing subcommittee. And before I ask other councillors to introduce themselves, I'll just hand over to Democratic Services to read out the housekeeping arrangements. Claire, please.
Thanks, Chair. In the event of the fire alarm sounding, please take instruction from staff and stewards. The assembly point is at Tudor Square. Please can request to switch mobile phones devices to silent mode so as to not disturb the conduct of the meeting. The meeting today will be webcast and the recording will also be available for people to view later through the Council's website. It is also possible that Sheffield Live TV will record and rebroadcast this meeting. Whenever the meeting is open to the public, photography, video and sound recording of the proceedings is permitted. However, the Chair has discretion to withdraw or suspend this permission, for example, if the recording is disrupting the conduct of the meeting or is being undertaken in a manner which could capture personal information, or in the event that a member of the public participating in the meeting object to it being recorded. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Claire. Any apologies for absence?
No, Chair.
Exclusions of public and press?
Chair, sorry, I had apologies for absence from Councillor Talib, Hussain, and there's nothing to be excluded from public and press.
Thank you. And any declarations of interest? No? Okay, I'll ask my colleagues to introduce themselves, starting from on my left, Councillor Otten.
Thank you, Councillor Joe Otten, Dawn Tockley-Wood.
Good morning, Councillor Alan Woodcock, Councillor for East Ecclesfield Ward.
Shimla Finch from the Licensing Service.
Claire Cummings from Democratic Services.
Sam.
Samantha Bond, Legal Advisor to the Subcommittee.
Mitchell Wibley, also from Legal Services, but just observing today.
Thank you. And can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Alex Smith, I'm the applicant.
Morning, Chair. My name's Sean Gibbons, I'm a Health and Safety Enforcement Officer.
Thank you.
Amanda McGovern, Health and Safety.
Thank you. To now ask our Solicitor of the Committee to just outline the procedure for this morning's.
Thank you, Chair. I think given that we've had a lot of sort of last minute changes and you guys have had some very helpful discussions this morning, I think it might just be easier to have more of a general discussion. We've had a lot of withdrawn representations from one resident this morning, from Environmental Health Protection Service and one of the councillors as well. So that's all been resolved by way of conditions and the updated timings. So I think if we just turn to the Health Protection Service first, just to give us a bit of summary, that'd be really helpful as to what's been agreed, and if anything remains outstanding. Members can ask you questions, and with the leave of the Chair, the applicant can ask you some questions as well. And then if there's anything you want to give us further detail about the premises and the application, or anything else you think we need to know, that'd be really helpful as well. And then members can ask you questions, just so we've rounded everything off for completeness and for the benefit of the webcasting and recording this morning. We'll give you the opportunity to sum up your application, just have the final say if there's any final thoughts you want to leave us with. We'll take the options as detailed in the report from Shimla, and members will then go into private session to take legal advice and come to a decision, which will invite you back in and give you that over the webcasting as well. The decision of the Licensing Committee will be given in accordance with the requirements of the Licensing Act 2003 and regulations made thereunder. At any time during the hearing, members can request legal advice. We can do it in open session as we are now, or private, where we just ask you guys to wait next door. We'll have a chat and then invite you back in and feedback what was discussed. And as has already been discussed, the hearing is held in public today and is being live webcast as we speak. And that should be everything. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sam. So if I can just ask our licence officer to introduce the report first, please.
Thank you, Chair. This report is to consider an application for the grant of a premises licence made under the Licensing Act. The application received on the 23rd of May 2025, and a copy of the application and plans are attached to Appendix A of this report. The application proposes for the premises run as a micropub playing recorded music and the supply of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises. During the consultation period, conditions have been agreed with South Yorkshire Police, which are attached at Appendix C. Further representations were also submitted by the Health Protection Service, the Environmental Protection Service, a councillor and 3 local residents. Since the publication of the report, the applicant has agreed conditions and a reduction in hours as detailed in the Environmental Protection Service representation and has subsequently been withdrawn. The change in the reduced hours and agreed conditions have been forwarded to all remaining parties, which has resulted in the council withdrawing their representation and one of the residents withdrawing yesterday evening. The applicant has also offered 2 additional conditions in relation to the bottle bins in the external area and deliveries at specific times to address concerns by the residents at page 39 of this agenda pack. Further conditions have been posed by the applicant in regards to concerns raised by Health Protection Service, and discussions have been made this morning prior to this meeting are at a point to resolve the representation. A copy of the changes, agreements and proposed conditions have been forwarded to all members and interested parties, and all parties detailed within this report has been invited to attend this hearing. There are no financial implications arising from this application, however additional costs may be incurred should the matter go to appeal. The legal position is in carrying out our functions are set out in paragraph 6 of the report, and it's recommended that members carefully consider representations made and take such steps as a subcommittee consider appropriate for the promotion of the licence and objectives. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Right, we're all good. Going on to yourselves then, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and apologies for keeping you all waiting this morning. I think the discussions were really productive, and I think we should have been having those conversations about 2 or 3 weeks ago with the applicant, but through no fault of Mr Mayor himself, we've had a very frank and honest conversation this morning about that. All the points that we've raised, Mr Mayor has taken on board, and he's proposed to put steps in place to mitigate those issues that we've raised. I think the bottom line is you've got a copy of my report there, Appendix B, which itemises quite a few things. So we've discussed all those things in detail this morning. I think the bottom line from us is that we will need a new plan to indicate an accessible toilet. I think it's fair to say that Mr Mayor was advised wrongly that he didn't need to put an accessible toilet in, and we would say that's to the contrary, because when it comes to putting his building regulations, his planning in, as well as what we would look at from a licensing perspective, it's advice across the board that should be, under the Equalities Act, should be looking at this. Which I think, to be fair, Mr Mayor was of the opinion of doing that initially from discussion. So we have agreed that a new plan would be submitted to us to show a capacity 25 on the plan, and that basically, on that basis and the basis of the information that Mr Mayor's provided to us about structural engineers' reports, having an asbestos survey, suitability of flooring, electrical certification to be provided, glazing and frames, doors to be looked at. We're quite satisfied that he's got everything in hand. So I'm quite happy to withdraw my representation on that basis. And that's pretty much it from me, Chair, without going through each point. I've got quite a big script to go through today, but I'm glad to say that the discussion we had just before coming in here was really productive. And as I say, that should have been a discussion we should have been having weeks ago, through no fault of Mr Mayor. So happy to withdraw the objection. Happy to take any questions if there's any technical questions or anything in terms of my report, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will open to questions. Just for my information, the things that you just outlined earlier on, are you saying that obviously you're happy to withdraw your objections, but on the basis of that, this information, is that information that's still forthcoming, or have you already had that information?
It's information that's forthcoming, Chair. Going forward, Mr Mayor will liaise with my colleague Amanda McGovern, who dealt with the initial application and the initial steps of the application. In terms of all the landlord, I think it's fair to say the landlord is going to be helping Mr Mayor out on quite a few of these such as the surveys and things like that. But our representation, I think, came out of the fact that we didn't have this information, but Mr Mayor has confirmed that all these things will be taken into consideration and provided. So we're happy, Chair, that, and this is pretty much how we would normally work. I mean, this is a very standard application from my point of view. We've seen probably hundreds, thousands of venues similar to this go through over my 20 years experience doing the job. And to be honest, to be sat in committee, having these discussions, or just before committee hearing, is very unusual. We do always have these conversations, but we normally resolve that, and which would result in us not having to attend committee hearings.
Okay, thank you. Right, any questions, Councillor Otten?
Sorry, I can't see it in the papers. What's the capacity you're proposing for this in terms of customers?
25, sir.
25, so that's so a single unisex disabled toilet would be sufficient. Okay.
Correct, sir.
Councillor Woodcourt? No questions? Sam?
No, it's really helpful what's taken place this morning. I'm grateful, thank you.
Okay. If there's no further questions from us, Mr Mayor, do you have any questions?
No, I just want to say thank you to Sean and his team for this morning's discussion. I'm really happy with how it went and what we're going to do going forward. So thank you.
Okay. In that case then, I mean, if there's any further summing up to do, anything else you wish to say to add before we round off the meeting and deliberate? Is there anything else you wish to say?
Just thank you for everybody's time, and thank you again to Sean and his team, and looking forward to, obviously, opening new business in Sheffield. Fingers crossed. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Chair, I may have missed the procedure. Do we have to deal with the objection on page 39 at some point, and how do we deal with that if they're not here? Can that be clarified?
Yes, Sam, if you can, I'm going to come on to that.
I think some conditions were proposed by your solicitor, which related to the residents' concerns. I think it was just about the emptying of waste, bottle bins and waste and external bins between 10 p.m. and 7:30 a.m. and then no deliveries between 10 p.m. and 8:30 a.m. Were you happy with both of those conditions? Were they all right?
Yeah, we're more than happy to adhere to those conditions, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. And I think given that the hours have been reduced in line with the other premises in the area, I think that addresses the public nuisance concern from the outstanding residents' objection as well. So that should hopefully address that, I think. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Councillor Otten. Okay, I don't think there's any more questions or anything else to say on this then, or on anything else. So if you can just go back to our licence officer to tell us what the options we've got this morning.
Thank you, Chair. The options open to the committee are 1, to grant the premises licence in the terms requested, 2, to grant the premises licence with conditions, or 3, to reject whole or part of the application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. As Sam said earlier on, we now need to go into private discussion, deliberate. If you want to wait outside, we'll be happy to call you back and let you know what we decide. Thank you. things along. Thank you very much for that again. We have come to a decision. We are minded to grant license, but obviously, as we've sort of discussed earlier on, there are a number of conditions that would need to be met. Firstly, obviously, the couple of minor conditions from the residents who have asked for slight changes in timing and the collection of waste, etc., within particular times. So that will go on as a condition. Secondly, I think more significantly, is that new plan has to be submitted. And thirdly, I think without detailing everything that Health Protection Service have put down in their email, those concerns need to be addressed, which you said that you will obviously address them, but we need to be satisfied that they have been submitted, the information been provided, and that HPS have received and are satisfied that those concerns have been addressed. So unless obviously that happens, a license cannot be issued. So the third condition is that all these concerns raised by the Health Protection Service are not only addressed, but communicated to the HPS, and then HPS, if they can then communicate that to licensing to say, yes, we've had this information, we've checked it, and we're satisfied, and then obviously licensing can issue the license. Is that okay? But yes, we're happy to grant subject to those three conditions.
Yeah, yes, perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks again for everyone's time. Thank you.
Just for the benefit of the recording and completeness, you have the right of appeal against that decision because we've put a lot of conditions on the licence over the last couple of weeks, and the residents also have the right of appeal given that the licence has now been granted subject to the approval of those. So as soon as HPS essentially sign everything off, email licensing can then issue your licence, and we'll take those conditions off the licence that the committee have imposed today. But really grateful for the discussions this morning and for everyone's time, so thank you very much for that.
Okay, thanks again everyone. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thank you.